You're listening to Power Talks with Melody and Beth Ann in the morning. There, where talk is real, truth is in the talk, and there is power in truth. Good morning, Melody. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday to you and to all the listeners.
It is a Monday for sure.
It
already.
is.
We've already discussed. That take long, does it, for Monday to reveal its head? Well, we have some sad news today. We say Semper Fi to Gunny. Ronald Lee Ermey. He was the star of Full Metal Jacket and Mail Call, and he died this weekend, just yesterday, at the age of 74 from complications of pneumonia. He joined the Marine Corps when he was in 1961. He was only 17 years old, and he served in the aviation support field before becoming a drill instructor at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego. Ermey also served in Okinawa, Japan, and in Vietnam for 14 months in 1968. He was medically discharged in 1972, and here is his manager's farewell that he posted on Facebook. It is with deep sadness that I regret to inform you all that R. Lee Ermey, the Gunny, passed away this morning from complications of pneumonia. He will be greatly missed by all of us. It is a terrible loss that nobody was prepared for. He has meant so much to so many people, and it is extremely difficult to truly quantify all of the great things this man has selflessly done, and on behalf of so many people, for many men and women in the uniform. He has also contributed many iconic and indelible characters on film that will live on forever. Gunnery Sergeant Hartman of Full Metal Jacket fame was a hard and principled man. The real R. Lee Ermey was a family man and a kind and gentle soul. He was generous to everyone around him, and he especially cared deeply for others in need. And this is the quote from the famous Full Metal Jacket. It is actually a rifleman's creed. This is my rifle. There are many like it, but this one is mine. And we say Semper Fi to Gunny and Godspeed and prayers with his family. We know he will be missed.
Someone else passed away this weekend, Art Bell. Radio host Art Bell.
I did not know that. Okay.
He was 72, and of course everyone knows him from Coast to Coast. I guess they're doing some sort of an autopsy to find out, what he passed away from. But certainly everyone knows Art Bell, and of course he captivated his listeners with his fascination for the unexplained, UFOs, alien abductions, crop circles, and but he died in his home, and he lived in Pahrump, Nevada. And we used to go camping in Pahrump. Very lovely area. Desert, kind of desertly, but
perhaps it's my age, but both of those men seem rather young to me. 72 and 74. You said Art Bell was 72.
72, yes, yes. And
looking younger and younger all the time.
Mm-hmm. So, 72 really. In today's age, we look at it as young, but overall, 72 is.
It's had a good life.
Someone told me one time that. You're not old until you're 70. And then when you're 70, you're old.
Well, I'm going to fight that every step of the way.
And then when you're 80,
they will be missed.
And then when you're 80, you're really old.
And then you just don't care anymore.
Also, Barbara Bush.
She's very ill. Did she pass yet?
I don't think she's passed yet, but she has refused any hospitals that she's gone home to. She's gone home. So, but she has to make the final journey.
Yeah, they have called the family to be around her, and that's always, it's a good thing that the family can be around. And I know I was with my dad, and I was with my mother. I was with both of them when they passed, and that's a good thing to be there. So we remember that family as they are losing a loved one.
Do we have any good news?
I have some funny news. Let's see. I thought that this is just a telltale of the mainstream media and the tabloids. Apparently the tabloids pay very well. You and I are in the wrong business, girlfriend. It says the National Enquirer doled out $30,000 to Trump Tower doorman who claimed he had this juicy tidbit of gossip about some beautiful employee there that Donald Trump had an affair with and impregnated. Well, it ended up to be all false and all wrong, but I guess he got his $30,000, and they will pay big bucks just to embarrass and find out. Now, I think that's kind of comical because this man, the president, who is now president, he has been in the limelight all his life. So if they have to pay somebody to find dirt on him, I mean, where have they been? I mean, he bragged about being a playboy. I mean, where have they been all their lives? I mean, anyway, so the doorman got paid $30,000. What could we do with $30,000? Anyway.
Well, $30,000 just tells you that it wasn't true, because if it was really true, they would have paid, $130,000. So, $30,000 is nothing anymore. I mean, it's a lot to many of us, but.
Well, they gave him the money, and then they found out it wasn't true, so I don't know. And if he would have given his information to anyone else, he'd have owed them $1 million, and I thought that was kind of comical. Pay him $30,000, and he's supposed to owe you $1 million back if he leaks it to someone else.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is interesting, and this is kind of, it just tells us, this nation is such a mess, and has been. We've treated people pretty badly. This is coming from Justice Gorsuch, and it's a first. So this is good news. It's not bad news. But he has a clerk, Toby Merritt Edwards Young, is enrolled. He's a citizen of the Chickasaw Nation from the Midwest in Oklahoma, and he has worked for Gorsuch since the early days when Gorsuch was with President W. Bush's administration. So he is now Gorsuch's not aide, but he's on his staff, as well as several others. But this is a first. No one from the Chickasaw Nation has been in this kind of a position before. And he says that he thinks it speaks to all Chickasaws. He said, I hope that if other Chickasaws read about my experiences, they will recognize that nothing stops them from pursuing any dream that they have too. Somebody from where they are from is going to be working every day at the Supreme Court, and there's no reason that there shouldn't be many more to come. And of course, we know that our Native Americans were treated very badly, and the Chickasaw Nation were some of the Native Americans that were forced to leave their land. And it says here that there are approximately, and I didn't think this isn't a very big number, approximately 60,000 enrolled Chickasaws in 2018. The tribe was among the 5 Native American societies forcibly moved from the east bank of the Mississippi River on the Trail of Tears. A National Law Journal study found that 85, just throwing this out there, because they have to, 85% of the Supreme Court clerks since 2005 are white, and approximately 2/3 of them are male. So they just had to throw that out there. But I thought that was kind of interesting that he's been there for a while. He's worked for Gorsuch for a long time, and now he's a clerk there for the Supreme Court. It names some others that are clerks with Gorsuch, and they Ethan Davis, King and Spalding LLP, and Paul Mazzina, an alum of the late Justice Antonin Scalia. So,
very
anyway.
Interesting. I guess tomorrow the Supreme Court is also going to determine whether items bought on the internet will be taxed. So, I guess that's coming tomorrow. It's supposed to anyway. Who knows? And in today's world, who knows? Did you watch any of that? Or see clips. I didn't sit and watch it. I just saw clips of it here and there, and of Zuckerberg's interviews, or whatever you call that, interrogation, his time before Congress. Did you watch some of that? That's kind of interesting in a comical way. I didn't, and I keep getting. I can't tell you how many pictures I got on him sitting on a little booster seat. But what's interesting though, if you really look
hey, some of us have to have booster seats.
Hey, I hear you. But you know what? The thing of it is, if you look at his coat, his jacket, now I don't think paddings or shoulder pads are in style. So I figured his coat was some sort of a bulletproof type jacket. I don't think he's wearing a back brace, but you could see a sharp line going down starting from his shoulder, and his jacket seemed awfully long in the back. So I'm thinking, well, maybe he was sitting on that booster to accommodate whatever jacket he might have been, if it was some sort of a bulletproof something or other. I mean,
that's possible. I didn't pay that much of attention to it.
Yeah, but you can see a sharp line going all the way down. It almost looked like he had a vest on. And then I looked a little bit further, and it could have been a vest underneath his jacket, and maybe the seat helped, because
and they are uncomfortable
there a long time.
Just knowing those who wear a bulletproof vest, they are very uncomfortable to sit in.
So, I'm assuming maybe that was the issue. I mean, but I can't imagine, he goes out on a regular basis, and I don't know, why, you're a billionaire. I guess your life is up for grabs, for kidnapping and everything else.
Well, that's why nobody cares about me.
But so I just found that interesting. But no, I didn't watch any of that. I saw a couple of these politicians, and their answers or questions. Were just. They were like talking to a 2-year-old, and it was just. Well, it just seemed. Well, it just seemed surreal. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense. I didn't pay any attention to it. But, if anybody didn't know that we're being tracked on a regular basis and didn't know that...
Then they've not been paying attention.
Yeah, what kind of world do they think we're really living in?
Like I said, I've been on the Internet quite a bit in the last few months. My girlfriend got married here a week ago, and so we were doing searching when it first started, when she was engaged, and they were looking for wedding bands and stuff. I was searching, just looking at things, and she said, well, look at this one, look at that one, and then dresses, and then shoes, and then jewelry, and all of that just keeps popping up all over my computer because they're tracking you. They know that's a marketing ploy. Of course, they do more than just the marketing, but they're tracking you. That you think
Absolutely.
You be careful what you type, and be careful what you email, be careful what you text, be careful what you do, because they're out there.
And we have the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. They never heard of that one before, but they announced Thursday that it was awarded a $5.1 million contract to the Fairfax, Virginia-based cybersecurity company CryptoWire to develop what DARPA calls the Warfighter Analytics Using Smartphones for a Health Program, or WASH for short. This app would be used to spot diseases based on data that is collected from a person's smartphone. And that's the future that is envisioned by scientists at the Pentagon's Secretive Weapons Development Arm, and where such a system is being built to keep tabs on deployed U.S. service members.
Wow.
So, again, it's,
Is that like the Fitbit that keeps track of your sleeping and your steps?
He says he hopes the technology one day can broaden access to health care by spotting health problems before a person visits a doctor or nurse. Ultimately, this could mean better treatment or cost savings and making treatment available to more people. And again, at first, they're talking about the soldiers, and now they're just widening it to the impact of people. And this is what it is. They're going to control your every movement. They're going to control everything you stick in your mouth. And that comes down to
and they're going to control the commercial times. We're going into a break. Your calls are welcome. You're listening to Power Talk with Melanie and Beth Ann. The number to call is 717-300-1218. That's 717-300-1218. Right back.
Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. Gold and silver is tremendously undervalued. global demand vastly exceeds mine supply by more than 60% annually, there is little in the financial world more certain than a coming explosion in the prices of gold and silver. The U.S. dollar continues to lose value and respect as the world's reserve currency. Our nation faces challenges on many fronts, and a day doesn't pass without another economist bringing forth warnings of impending economic calamity. There has never been a better time than right now to acquire physical gold and silver. Discount Gold and Silver Trading was founded on the principles of truth and honesty. We believe in providing a quality product, quality service, and most importantly, competitive pricing. We provide all forms of precious metals, including American gold, silver, platinum, and rare investment and circulated coins. Silver bars, rounds, and 90% silver bags are on hand for the silver investor. Gold self-directed IRAs are available. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free, that's 1-800-375-4188.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn. The Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the Scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a reestablished Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
Years ahead of the dominant media, FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
And in the morning, and it is a Monday morning, and we both had to fill our cup of tea and our cup of coffee to keep going this morning during the commercial break. I have Governor Brown. He's at it again, you know. Governor Brown has moved to hike California's gas taxes, and they think that this could kind of doom the Democrats during the election. It says California Republicans are mounting a campaign to motivate voters against a very unpopular gas tax increase, which was passed in 2017. It says we pay one of the highest gasoline taxes in the nation. By the time you get to 2021, we're going to be paying just $2 a gallon of gas for gasoline just in taxes. $2 of it will be in taxes, and we don't do that for working families who have to travel to their jobs. And this is coming from Walter, what's his name? I missed it. Anyway, he's Mimi Walters of California, running one of the representatives there. So they're a little upset with Governor Brown, and they're going to try and use this gas tax to their advantage. Not that the Republicans wouldn't have done the same thing. They're all about taxes, but it says nearly 58% of the voters oppose this gas tax increase, and including 39% who say they strongly reject the legislation. Opposition against the measure is widespread. Voters in all major regions of the state, other than the Bay Area, and all age categories over 30 are unhappy about it. Liberal voters are the only group that largely support the law. I'm still wondering why that would be. Other polls are more split. More than 47% of likely voters favor repeal, while 48% oppose nixing the law, according to a poll of the Public Policy Institute of California. A similar gas tax increase helped bring down the Democrat former Governor Gray Davis in 2003 after he signed legislation dramatically increasing the vehicle license fee. So anyway, we'll have to see if Governor Brown, I don't think he's up for re-election, but the representatives and such there are going to take advantage of this. The Republicans are going to use that as their catapult or their leverage against the Democrats because of this gas tax. $2 just in taxes.
Huh?
Anyway.
People don't understand taxes never go down.
No, they
never go down. They never go away.
Fight it all you want. Oh, you think they're going to repeal that sucker?
Yeah, I know it. But anyway, it's interesting. Very interesting.
It's more of it's just more spending and more.
Well, it's just like I said.
They have to tax. So.
Going to the Supreme Court whether they're going to tax anything you purchase online. Mm-hmm. So it was just a matter of time. The states are scrapped. Their budgets. Some states are doing okay, but on my other show last week we talked about their pension funds and how many are so underfunded. I think we talked a little bit about it here too. But so they need money. So they're just not going to sit around and not fight and go under. They're going to keep taxing until people finally say no, enough's enough, and they don't pay it. So
the marvel of all history is the patience with which men and women submit to burdens unnecessarily laid upon them by their governments. George Washington. And we have been a very patient people, I think. We have been a very patient people. I didn't get to study this article. I want to study it a little bit more. It's got a graphic on here. This is coming from the Daily Signal, but it's showing where your tax dollars are going. And it's because they were quoting, it says the rapper Cardi B. Anyway, I guess he wanted to know, Uncle Sam, I want to know what you're doing with my blankety-blank tax money. So they've kind of tried to break it down here and show where it's all going. And, of course, a great deal of it is going to pay the interest on that debt.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'll study that a little bit more, and we can cover that another day. But I didn't get to study it too much yet this morning. When it takes me a little longer, I'm not as good as you. When I see numbers, I kind of go, ooh, zone out.
Well, I think we talked about this last week. But global debt rose to a record $237 trillion. That's in the fourth quarter, more than $70 trillion higher than a decade earlier. The Institute of International Finance reported that. Among mature markets, household debt as a percentage of GDP hit an all-time high on Belgium, Canada, France, Luxembourg, Norway, Sweden, Switzerland. And they talk about that could be possibly a worrying signal, but as we see, interest rates are beginning to rise around the globe. But, it's not going to stop, things from going forward for until it doesn't anymore. The ratio of global debt to gross domestic product for the fifth consecutive quarter as the world's economic growth accelerated. The ratio is now around 317% of GDP, 4 percentage points below the high in the third quarter 2016. So, the world revolves around debt. People think that debt will keep all the world economies growing. Well, then go out there and go get yourself in debt and buy some. Go take out a loan. I mean, it's just kind of really.
Well, you had mentioned last week when we talked a little bit about what the president was going to do with some of the welfare reform, and he wants to go back and he wants to chop at the omnibus bill, and you said, well, they're going to have to go after the entitlements, and that's what this is saying, that 52% of the tax dollars is going for entitlements. 28% is Medicare, Medicaid, and other health care. 24% is Social Security. 17% is income security. And 15% is national defense. 9% all other. 7% net interest. So,
well, why don't they go and pull out those IOUs that they threw into Social Security and go after the departments who use that money,
absolutely,
and pay it back, and all the Medicaid people who got on there, millions and millions since Obamacare. I mean, that's where they're going. I mean, they pay no premiums.
They have to.
And I mean, that's what the Obamacare was all about. So, there's a lot of things they can do, but it's not going to, because these people vote, and they probably vote more than people that are, financially. I mean, I don't know, but as far as a breakdown on the voters, so I shouldn't say that. But anyway,
everyone is hurting. Everyone is hurting across this nation.
And I know people get upset when they call Social Security an entitlement.
It shouldn't be an entitlement because you paid into it, but you get more than you paid.
You get more than
you
paid.
More than you paid.
Yep.
And, my father-in-law said a long time ago when somebody was sitting there griping about it, and he looked at him, why should you get more than what you put in?
Yeah.
Because he was all about taking care of yourself. He had to pay into it like everybody else, but, he said, why should you expect more than what you gave? Above the interest. Why would you expect more? And, anyway, he was kind of going back at him. I heard him doing that one day, and I thought that was kind of, telling, at least.
Yeah, and people who don't put anything or little in, they get more back. And, I mean, it's just like, but, they couldn't let people take care of their own retirements and so forth, because then they wouldn't have been able to get wealthy. Wall Street wouldn't be what it is today. The power, the wealth, the destruction of this country, our liberties and our liabilities. So it's all it's, whether it was by design or by just growth. I think it was by design, but by design we have Joe calling in Arkansas.
Joe from
Good
Arkansas.
morning, Joe.
Joe, how are you this morning?
Oh, it's still a little bit cold. This winter seems to be still lingering around a little bit. I'm hoping spring will get here one of these days. And how about you? How are you all doing?
Oh, it's cold here.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
We're good.
Okay. Michael Savage on his radio show the other day said something that I thought was really interesting and kind of brought home to me, why I've felt, always felt kind of frustrated with Trump. And Michael Savage said that Trump actually once told him that he always has globalists and nationalists around him, and he always listens to both sides on everything. And and I have always felt frustrated with Trump because it seems to me like he dabbles in patriotism, but you can never, ever, ever really count on him to do the right thing. It's not like he's a firm, strong patriot like somebody like maybe Sheriff Richard Mack, for instance. That seems to be a guy you can always count on to do the right thing and be a patriot. And
not
Trump
necessarily
seems to
what we
always
would call a true conservative either.
Yeah. So it seems like he dabbles in patriotism, but you can't count on him. And so that's always been my frustration with Trump. Another time this really came home to me was when he got Obama to release his birth certificate, but then as soon as the birth certificate was released, he accepted it as genuine, whereas some other investigators, really looked into it, like who was that sheriff in Arizona, Joe Arpaio. He had this cold case posse look into it, and they found it was fake. Expert document examiners said that it was fake, but Trump didn't give them any credit, didn't mention it again. He just accepted it right away as genuine. So I was really disappointed in him on that. So anyway, it seems like now he's really listening to really bad advice from his globalist advisors on this serious situation. Looks to me like what they're doing is that they're determined to push Russia into a corner where they have no other choice but they've got to attack us. And just what the outcome of that would be, I don't know. I've heard some people say that the American military is much superior to Russia's, and, Russia could not win a war with us. But, I think they could still do an awful lot of damage, and it would be a real mess. And if we got into a war with Russia, and I don't think there's any good reason for it. So I do not like the way that Trump is going now, listening to his globalist advisors. I wish he would listen to the patriots and nationalists more. But for some reason, he seems to have abandoned them and wants to go with the globalists on this.
I do not disagree with you. Melanie?
Well, no, I'm not. I agree with him too. And every time I just try to bring out ways of looking at things, trying to come to a conclusion on what we do have. What do we have? And I'm told, well, you got to give them a chance. You got to give them a chance. Well, how many chances? But that doesn't mean we can't talk about it and try to understand what direction we're really headed in. And lots of times, your opinion doesn't matter, but my opinion to me matters. But so it's fascinating. It's frightening. It's there's questions, and this is the I don't know what or why, and and I've had doubts and questions from day one. Anytime a man can walk down, and he said it during his campaign, anytime a man can walk down the street and shoot somebody and he'd still get elected, he'd still have his base, I'm thinking to myself, what's wrong with the base? Because that is wrong. I mean, it's so. I don't know, but I agree with you, and I think we're just going to have to sort of wait and, the election is a big deal.
I don't know that. I know he said that, but I don't know that that's 100% true. I don't think that would have been true with me, and I know that would not have been true with you, and I don't know if I really consider us his base. I voted for him because I didn't want to vote for anybody else. So.
Well, I did have a little bit of hope in the man. I did have a little bit of hope of what he was saying was, true. And, that he would have taken the conservative patriotic side more, but, and I hear the, terminology thrown around and so forth. And, but I don't hear the word or Constitution heard often.
Don't hear that.
I don't hear.
You talk about the Republic once in a while, and he hasn't been doing that too much either.
I don't hear about the. He signed the Surveillance Act. He made a good choice in Gorsuch, as far as the Supreme Court.
He has done some good things, and we're just going to have to stand by and watch, and that's kind of hard to do, and I kind of feel like Joe does,
The good things he's done are the little things, though, and the big things. Is that
Go ahead, Joe?
Yeah, hello? Yeah, I tell you, one reason why your opinions are important, one reason why everybody's opinions are important, is that it makes for good radio. And radio, listening to talk radio really is a good education, really enriches life. It's very worthwhile. So even if your opinions don't seem to count in the big scheme of the world, it sure makes for good radio. And I'm sure glad when people have these opinions and express them on the radio like this. So thank you very much. That's what I wanted to say today. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Joe. Something else it does is we get to think outside the box.
Yes.
Because not everything I think or every question that I have is necessarily, I'm not the only one. And, somebody else has, we can think outside the box. We can hear other opinions and other slants on the issues. And, I've learned quite a bit. I learn from my listeners. I always do.
Actually, I learned from my own, from my research and everything I do too. But what is funny about Trump, and I'm probably getting hot water for this. I voted for him. I'd hoped we'd see the more conservative, patriotic president and so forth that would, be more to what we need and so forth. But yet on the other side, I think we were duped, and I don't say that to very many people. So I still don't know. I think that we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. But there's we certainly do. And the media certainly doesn't try to bring forth the truth in any manner. My good Lord, I turned on the news this morning the first time from this weekend, and on one program, for 3 hours, all you heard was Comey, 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 Comey. It's like, is that all you have to talk about?
And I'm so tired of Comey.
Like, oh my gosh, that's, and okay, the book isn't even out yet. It was his big interview last night. There are probably some things in his book that are true, but I guarantee you there's a lot of things in there that aren't true. So, and that's how you promote stuff. Big liars, they always throw in a little bit of truth, and, but 3 hours, nothing. But call me. That was disgusting.
You're right. And there was a panel on last night on the Revolution. Is that what it's called? I can't think of his name, but it's on Fox, and they had a panel of lawyers. And they were all discussing whether certain things were a crime, whether certain things were this or that with Comey and Comey's statements and analyzing. And it was a pretty good discussion, but it's like, really seriously. And this. But
we've heard it how often?
Oh gosh, we've been hearing it forever. Just about got it memorized on John Hannity. But and then this is just some more of I don't know if I don't know that I fully buy that we've been duped, but I know you do, and you don't tell that to everybody. You just say it on the
I just said
radio.
It to the world. This program is heard around the world.
I don't tell very many. I just tell everybody.
But I still hope, and I still give them the chance.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, but and I've mentioned this before. I think last week we were talking about it, and you said, well, I still think it's all part of the act. Everybody hates him so much. The hate in the media, the hate in the Democrat Party and the rhinos in the Republican Party, and the fact that they won't even give him his administration. They won't give him those people that he needs to put in place to get things clicking. And then they're upset every time he fires somebody or has to switch this or switch that. Well, of course, I'm not necessarily a Pompeo fan, all right? But Pompeo was CIA, and now he's trying to make him Secretary of State, and the Democrats have vowed to stop this, okay? And Tim Kaine is one of the big ones, and he just hates him. But he voted for him for the CIA director. But, boy, he doesn't think he's the right one for the Secretary of State. But the line of questioning is what really gets to me, and that's where it's all telling of where we are in this nation. It says here, do you believe that gay sex is a perversion? This is their questioning for him as Secretary of State. Believe it or not, the question was posed repeatedly, and this happened on Thursday at the Senate confirmation hearing for Mike Pompeo, the once CIA director now nominated to be Secretary of State. The graphic question was put to him by Senator Cory Booker, Democrat from New Jersey. He also wanted to know exactly what Pompeo thought about same-sex marriage. He said he presumes almost out of thin air to set a new non-negotiable standard for anyone who wants to hold any executive office. You must be completely on board with same-sex marriage, you must affirm gay sex, and you must espouse these convictions openly. This kind of thought policing is becoming a trend of politicians on the left. And Senator Bernie Sanders did this to Russ Vought, if you remember. I mean, he got hostile. And what does that have to do with his qualifications to be Secretary of State? Go after him for that. If you want to say he's a warmonger and you don't want him there, then go after him for that. Don't go after him for his for his views on sex.
Well, the reason they're so strong on that because it just destroys the family. And you know,
and they have to destroy the family.
They have to destroy Christianity and the family, and that's the way they're doing it with that agenda. I spoke to a woman last night, her granddaughter. She was telling me her mother took her to this movie about a young boy who is coming to terms with being gay. This little girl is 11 years old. And I'm thinking to myself, what is wrong with that picture? I mean, it's like, why? I mean, to me, that's pornography to some degree. It's about sex. It's about your sexual preference when you're 11 and you're a kid, 8, 9, 10 years old. What's wrong with that? You're taking your kid to see it. Oh, my gosh. I did everything to keep my lips buttoned because I would have went. That's not the way to make friends, you know, when you're at a spaghetti dinner for charity, you know. But
we're a
that
mess.
is so important in that because it's the destruction of the right, is the construction of our Christianity. It is this, yes, and
strong morals, strong families,
and you can't argue because you know and so many of their ideas, they just do it because they want to look like they're fitting in, like they're accepting. This is the new age of the modernization. I mean,
yeah.
We got a caller, but we're heading into a break. Should we?
Okay, we've got 2 minutes. Well, 1 minute now. We could start and then just hang on to him.
Very good.
We have Oscar. Oscar, how are you today?
Good morning, ladies. How are you?
We're good. We just have a short time before the break, but we want to keep you. So tell us what's on your mind.
I'll stand by throughout the break.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. What's on your mind?
First of all, let me point out that the fact that I was listening to the program early this morning, I've heard the remarks of Joe. I'd like to say that I agree with him 100%. He was very good, very accurate to his remarks. It's important to listen to radio, most of all, because it's very educational. You don't hear nothing like that on TV, on any of the networks. And so he was very good about that, and especially to his remarks in reference to Trump, in relation to what's going on today with Syria and the things with Russia and so forth and so on. And,
all right, but you hang on. You hang on. That music's playing. You hang on. We're going to talk about and see what your opinion is on all of that's happening. You're listening to Power Talks with Melody and Beth Ann in the morning. The number to call is 717-300-1218, 717-300-1218. Melody, Beth Ann, and Oscar. We're going to be right back.
Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free, 1-800-375-4188. The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on Internet or our several affiliates. If you benefit by the educational law programs, we ask you to give. If you are admonished or nurtured by the Bible and ministry programs, we ask you to give. If some voice a cause that you are passionate about, we ask you to give. If you believe in any of these, We ask you to support them as you would a missionary on a continual basis, as if giving a tithe for missionary radio. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs at our listen and schedule pages on the Internet. Then, when you subscribe, we will send you the last quarterly MP3 CD of that program immediately, and continue to do so with each new quarter. We will also give you unlimited archive access to all of our programs. We're asking you to give much less than a tithe, so that you may also send support directly to a particular program host, cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening. Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
And Beth Ann in the morning, and 717-300-1218 is the number to call. We were visiting with Oscar.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to say that, when I was a child, I remember the best night of my young life, it was when the circus came to town, because I knew my daddy was going to take us to the show. But nowadays, that I'm an adult, I don't have to worry. I don't have to wait for that very night for the circus, come to town, because the circus is out there worldwide, especially in the political arena and in the news networks and so forth and so on. Now, in regards to what you said before, both of you, according to the world finances and so forth, I don't think we are in any situation to hold a confrontation with a big power such as Russia, because, the situation, the financial situation in this country, I don't think it's that crystal clear. Now, on the other hand, we think that we are so much superior to the Russians as far as military power. That to me holds some sort of a arrogant dimension. I don't know if I'm wrong or not, but that's the way I feel it. In this situation with Assad is a very intelligent man. He is not stupid. I don't think he's going to pull stuff like that, killing his own people with chemical weapons, when he would know that the world would come against him, in a massive form. I don't think he would do that. Why he would omit the genetic components and all this stuff that would come to harm his people, why he would protect them from that to turn around and kill them? I don't know, what is your opinion about that? I don't think he did anything like that. So this is nothing more than a poor subterfuge reason to start a war there. And I think I'm very, very, very clear to know where the source of all of that is coming from. And the people need to know the truth, because they put in the blame on him, and he is not the source of it. Now, we're going to come to finally a confrontation with Russia, because Russia is being pushed to the limit. Putin is a very smart man. He's not a checkers player. He's a chess player, a master chess player. So they're going to push him around so far, and he's going to react. And that's going to be the dangers for the world. And that's all I have to say. And I appreciate the fact that you let me talk, and to say hello to both of you, and have a lovely day. Thank you.
No, thank you, Oscar. And it's kind of like we had said last week. We just announced that we were pulling out, and then he does this. That doesn't make any sense, because they want us out of there. So why would they do that to keep us there, to anger the powers that be, so that we can come in there and attack? It doesn't make any sense. Of course, I'm not a military person. I'm not a political-minded person. I'm very simple-minded, and it doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, what I found interesting about the attacks on Syria Friday night was, number one, if they're going to do it, and we talk about this all the time, things happen on Fridays, on the weekend, because they don't want to mess up the old stock market. The market's up a couple hundred points this morning. So, they dragged it out so everyone could be positioned. We don't know how orchestrated this attack was, even with Russia and with Syria, But what I found interesting about the whole thing was that we did it in concert with Britain and we did it in concert with France. And a year ago, and this is all a year ago, it was done on our own. He went and he struck Syria all by himself. This year we brought in, so I'm not sure what that was all about, whether it was just to show a stronger force,
or a stronger voice in the global arena.
Both, yeah, stronger, because we all know that Trump has issues with Britain, and
we know they love him so much.
Yeah, and but he does like Macron. They seem to get along fairly well. Germany wasn't included, but the comments coming out of Germany was, well, we said we stood by what was going on and by the response verbally, but we didn't join in militarily. So I don't know if maybe they were expecting a bigger response back from Russia. I don't know. I mean, and these are things we will never know. We can only sit and speculate and kind of put the dots together that kind of make sense. And sometimes things, no matter how we try, just won't seem to make sense. But yeah, I mean, and where do we go from here now?
Yeah. What's next?
What's next?
Well, I know I read something this morning that he wants out of there right away. He still wants to get out. So we'll see. We'll just have to see. But and where the majority of the news commentators and everything have been right on board with this. It's not been so accepting by Tucker Carlson, and he has. It says President Trump's strike against Syrian President Bashar al-Assad regime's Friday night did not earn universal praise from the most vocal supporters. Ever since Trump indicated 1 week ago he would retaliate against the latest chemical weapon attack attributed to regime forces, he netted intense criticism from many on the right. And, of course, Tucker Carlson, he had several people on there that were against it. And, of course, Rand Paul has spoke up against it. It says joining Tucker in a skepticism of the strike was also Laura Ingraham. She was upset about it as well, and just questioning it, kind of like we are. Why would we do this right now? It doesn't make any sense. And so it's Ingraham battled with the Sebastian Gorka, who was saying it was necessary to do this strike. Always worry about that word necessary. When they tell us there's necessary, I have to question that a little bit because.
I mean, when you really understand, where all the how it really fits and, who really started, the ISIS and everything else. I mean, it is, it does kind of make sense, but they'll never talk about it on it. Even on Fox, they're not going to talk about it. They're not going to talk about where, ISIS was really created. They're not going to talk about, a lot of these things, but, so anyway.
Well, they did talk about, the people there were out in the streets praising Assad and standing by their leader. But, of course, if he is a bad leader, he's going to force people to do that anyway. So that doesn't really mean a whole lot to me. But I do question why we did this and the timing, right after we just said we're going to pull out, and then all of a sudden he does this, and it doesn't make any sense to me.
No, not at all.
No. So,
not at all.
But what do I know? I'm not a military-minded person, but I do have to question it, and I think we should always question, question their motives, and just like whether it's an omnibus bill or an attack like this or something else, they don't like Pompeo. Okay, don't like Pompeo. You think he's a warmonger? Then let's talk about him being a warmonger. Let's not ask him about his sexual preference or his stance on sexual. On gay marriage and all this and that. That has nothing to do with being a Secretary of State. So I'm just sick and tired of these people and the destroying this nation. And that's all they're for, is destroying this nation.
So, yeah, we were out to dinner Friday night when I got the text that we had struck Syria. It was like I got all kinds of other texts shortly thereafter, from World War III to, the beginning of something. And we have so many distractions going on. And certainly no one talks. My big issue is the debt.
The debt and the economy.
Is the debt. Is the debt in the economy. And it's just not our debt, it's the world's debt. And, the amount of money that is being printed into these economies to just keep their economies going. And the stimulus is just staggering. And so once that gets shut off, once they remove the needle, it's certainly going to do a lot of, there's going to be a lot of pain. And a lot of people think, we've gotten this far, so, things will be okay. And, but I don't think that's the case. Do not think that is the case. We still have those 90%. I got some extra dimes and some AUBU dimes. They're on the way to Discount Gold and Silver now, so we got lots of dimes coming in. And we have the small packages, $330 for $25 face value. Silver's up today, gold's up today. So please take advantage of these lower prices while you can. Give us a call at 1-800-375-4188.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn. The Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a re-established Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy Reality News app. Get it now.
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188.